Okay, so I want to make a movie about high schoolers.
Okay, that's great. That's a huge demographic we can go after. Everybody has either been to high school, is currently in high school, or they're going to go to high school. So, you can't lose with movies like this.
Well, I really wanted to narrow the scope a little bit and focus on two female main characters.
Okay, that narrows it down a little bit, but not too much because, half the population of the world is women. And then, of course, guys are going to go see it if the women are attractive. So it's still win-win.
Well, so the women wouldn't necessarily be conventionally attractive. I mean, they would be attractive to people, but of social standards, they're not conventionally attractive.
So what are you telling me? The two women are like butch lesbians or something?
No, maybe one of them being a little bit butch, but so I want them attractive a little bit, but one of them may be butch, but they're definitely both lesbians.
Okay. All right. So what do they do? Are they good at something? What's going to help us put the butts in the seats here?
I mean, actually, I would probably call them untalented.
Untalented. Okay.
Yeah, they're not good at anything, really.
So we've got lesbian high school students who aren't good at anything. What are they going to do in the movie?
Fight each other.
So you want to make a movie about high school lesbians who fight each other like Brad Pitt and Edward Norton?
Yes.
You just slayed the cat.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Slay the cat. Slay the cat. Podcast.
Slay the cat is speaking truth. Slay the cat is proof. Hear us talk your favorite film. Slay the cat is juiced. Slay the cat podcast. Slay the cat podcast. Slay the cat podcast. Slay the cat podcast.
Welcome all you punch-drunk fight clubbers out there. The first rule of Slay the Cat is we don't stop talking about movies.
Hell yeah.
Welcome to
Yes,
Slay.
Queen! Yes!
Whoa.
Slay! Okay.
Yeah, oh my God, I didn't realize they say slay in the movie.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Slay, cat, slay!
I'll get to it at some point. But this is Slay the Cat, a movie podcast. I am your host, Joey.
And I'm his wife, Erin.
Yes, my lovely wife, Erin, who does this podcast with me, who
Yes.
is my co-host. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the movie Bottoms. It is a recent release. Usually we do old movies, but this time we are going to be doing something that came out last year in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably the newest movie we've done since Barbie.
Yes.
So first off, I think we need to talk about, we recently upgraded our setup. We got real microphones, and a real mixing board.
Microphones.
It's entry-level stuff because we don't have any money, but it's better than the $40 USB mics that we got off of Amazon to start out with. So last episode, you might have heard that we had a few technical difficulties. We had some occasional glitching, I would say. Sizzling noises. But anyway, we're trying to work it out. We think it was because I had my cell phone here. And, cell phones are constantly sending and receiving signals, if you didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to put it on airplane mode, but that still didn't work.
Yeah.
So I went and I put our cell phones in another room, and hopefully it works. And but please just try to bear with us as we're dealing with these technical difficulties.
Thank you. I appreciate ya.
All right, and our next order of business is Oscars. Erin, it's Oscar time.
Is it?
Yeah, when this drops, the Oscars will be only a couple days away.
Really?
So I want to ask you, what are your Oscar movie picks?
I have no idea because I
Really?
never pay attention to the Oscars.
Did you see any Oscar movies this year?
Maybe. We saw Barbie.
Yeah, I think that was it.
I don't really watch a lot of. We don't really watch a lot of movies. We also watched. What movies did we go see in the theater? We watched the Barbie movie. We watched the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Yeah, well, that's definitely not going to be one of them.
We watched the theater camp movie, which probably isn't going to be there either.
No, I doubt it.
And then this, a Bottoms we watched just now.
Yeah. We didn't see any of the ones with actor in a leading role.
Nope.
Actor in a supporting role, we saw Barbie, Ryan Gosling. I don't think he's going to win it, but nice that he got nominated. I didn't see anything for the actress in a leading role. We saw the original Color Purple, but not the new one.
Yeah, I haven't seen the new musical Color Purple. I was listening to the music of it though the other day.
We did. We saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is for animated feature film.
Okay. I hope that wins, I guess. I don't know. So if anyone knows me, you know that I'm not a big awards person, so I'm not paying attention to a lot of awards ceremonies. I love musicals and I love theater, but I really don't even pay attention to Tonys.
Yeah, you don't care about the Tonys either.
I don't really care or pay attention. It's a great thing. It's great, but I don't really pay attention to award shows. Some people really focus on them. I don't know. I just never have been like a big award show kind of person.
No, neither have I. I used to watch it because I used to watch all the new movies that came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then like after I had a kid, you just don't have the time to watch so many movies. Then it was kind of fun for me, but now I don't watch anything unless I know it's like my kind of movie. Like I didn't go see Oppenheimer just because I don't care about movies like that.
Yeah. Also,
I'm sure it's a great movie, but do I really care? Do I want to sit through 3 hours of knowing about how the atomic bomb got built? I really just don't care.
Also, so some award shows, like I like to watch like the little in between performances sometimes of award shows, but
that can be fun.
But overall, watching an award show is kind of boring to me because I don't really care to watch people talk on stage just to do it. Now, if it's a really comedic group, like I think I watched an award show when Amy Poehler and Tina Fey hosted.
Yeah, when they did the Golden Globes, it was really fun.
Watched that because they are hilarious. And so there's been a couple times I have watched award shows because I really wanted to see the hosts. But if they don't have good hosts, then I really don't care.
I gotta say, the Golden Globes in recent years has really like upped their game in like the whole presentation of it.
Yeah.
Because I've never watched the Golden Globes, but I've seen a bunch of bits online from it. Like Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig doing stuff.
Yes. They usually present something.
Yeah.
Or present an award and they do a funny little act for it. So.
Yeah.
And theirs are usually pretty funny. But that's really about it. Like I don't really want to watch an award show.
So this is the kind of movie podcast that you turn into two people who are not locked into the industry whatsoever.
Yep.
Don't care about anything new that's coming out. We have very specific taste and we watch a lot of old movies. So if you're down for that,
join us.
Tune in every week. Do you want to maybe tell the audience like some of the stuff we're considering doing?
Yeah, let's go through a couple things that we wanted to hit on. And this is not in any particular order. These are going to be random all over the place. I'm just going to kind of talk about a couple of them.
In subject to change.
Yes. So some of the movies that we decided to talk about is we actually talked about one of them today is I want to add to our list is Return to Oz. It's a movie that has what's her name? Fairuza Balk in it. And
she plays Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz in it.
Yeah, so it's kind of a dark version of The Wizard of Oz. It's a really interesting movie, and we have
it's a little bit more faithful of an adaptation
to the book.
To the book than the original Wizard of Oz movie is.
Yeah. And so it's really, it was one thing that Joey and I bonded over when we first started dating. So we wanted to hit on that one. We don't know when we're going to do it, but we wanted to do it.
Yeah. And it came out in the late 80s, I want to say. And this was back when a lot of kids' movies were still scary.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't afraid to scare the shit out of kids. One that we will be doing very soon that I wanted Aaron to see is Point Break. I love that movie. I grew up watching it. It used to be on cable all the time. But she is a big Patrick Swayze fan.
Yeah, I'm Swayze crazy.
Yeah, she's Swayze crazy. And Patrick Swayze is from our hometown, or my hometown.
From Houston.
And your surrogate hometown, I would say. Houston. And so we're big Patrick Swayze fans. And I personally think this is some of his best acting.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'm excited to see it then.
Yeah. I can't wait for you to see it.
Another one that we're going to be watching is Inglourious Bastards. I've always wanted to see that movie. I've always had, I wouldn't call it a fascination or just an intrigue with the Holocaust. I remember in middle school we did like this huge.
Yeah, you're really fascinated in how it didn't happen, is what you're always telling me, Aaron.
No, what?
You always say, "Isn't it weird how it didn't happen?" But people say it did.
No, but in the middle school, we had like this big project for the Holocaust. And like, I lived in a small town that was 2.5 hours away, and we drove to Houston to go to the Holocaust Museum. And it was a really great experience for me, like seeing all of that.
Yeah, if you can stomach a Holocaust Museum, Houston has a really great one, and I recommend it if you're ever here.
So I've always had a fascination and just a soft spot for all of the people that went through the Holocaust. And so I've always wanted to see that movie because I know in the movie that they kill Hitler. And I'm like, that sounds fucking awesome. So I want to see that just to get to experience that.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Schindler's List?
I've not seen Schindler's List
either. That's another one we can put on here. It's a fantastic movie. I really love Schindler's List.
Another one is Silence of the Lambs.
Oh,
so
yeah. This is
both of us have seen this
favorite.
movie, but we love this movie. If you have seen it, it is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it because it's a really great movie.
I can't imagine someone listening to this, someone who's a movie fan listening to this and hasn't seen Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. But it's a really great movie. I'm super excited to watch that with you and us talk about it.
Yeah. Every time I sit down to watch that movie, which is maybe like once a year, I say to myself, like, is this movie really as good as everybody says it is? Or is it is it my rose-colored glasses? And then I watch it. I'm like, no, it is. It is as good as everyone says it is.
And then another one that I'm excited about to talk about is Predator, which I've seen Predator. Joey showed it to me. I didn't see it before I got with Joey.
You still haven't seen the whole thing.
I have not seen the entire thing. But I had seen the very end of it.
Oh yeah, you've
just
kind of
recently
seen the beginning.
I've seen I've seen all the way to the middle, and then I've seen like half the end to the rest of the end. From the half end to the rest. So there's like a little chunk in the middle that I'm missing.
Yeah, and I was a huge horror movie fan for more than half my life. I don't really watch that many anymore, but I did for a long time. So I'm excited to talk about some of my favorite 80s horror movies. One is Nightmare on Elm Street 2, because I've recently learned that there's an interesting cult following to this movie. So I want to rewatch it and from that view. And then also Friday the 13th 8, where he goes to New York.
Yes.
Only for the last 15 minutes of the movie. So those are the things I'm looking forward to talking about. We got a couple Rocky movies on here. What about Bob? Airplane? Do the Right Thing? Purple Rain? Like, we've got some stuff lined up.
Yeah.
That we hope you guys will like to hear
Funny
about.
Girl, My Girl.
Yeah. So if, every week we're not going to release a movie that you personally are going to want to hear about, but stick with us and we'll eventually get to something you do like. Because we're not like hindering ourselves to like one genre or something. We're trying to do everything.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and if you have suggestions on movies that you want us to see and you want us to talk about, please send them in. They can be movies that one of us has seen. They can be movies that neither of us have seen. They can be movies that both of us have seen. We're happy to do it. So please send us your suggestions at joeyanderinpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, it's also every episode. It's in the show notes, our email. So if you forget it, just go to our show notes and you'll see it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and write us about anything, even if like your dog died and you just need somebody to talk to.
Well, we'd love to talk to you about whatever you need to talk about. So, Joey, you want to talk about bottoms?
Yeah, let's get into bottoms.
So was there anything in this movie that kind of like jumped out at you?
Yeah, the first thing that really jumped out at me in this movie was that literally every character is absolutely insane.
Yes, everyone is to the extreme. There's no one that is in the middle or mediocre in any kind of way. They're all, well, actually probably the Brittany girl, but she's even the extreme of.
Yeah, I mean, she's still kind of, just everybody is out of their mind. Like the most level-headed people are the main characters, and they're even
insane,
pretty insane. But there used to be movies kind of like this in the 90s a lot, but they would never quite pull it off. Like I feel like the Brady Bunch movie.
Yes.
Everybody was insane in that.
Yeah.
But it didn't work because that movie's not good.
The one with RuPaul?
Yeah, the one with RuPaul. Yeah, look, even they had RuPaul as the guidance counselor. And then another movie it made me think about a lot was Heathers.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was crazy in that too.
Yes, yeah.
But that movie works, but I think this movie's better than that.
Yeah. I noticed that also, like the characters, and they come out hot.
Yeah.
The movie comes out full steam ahead. It does not give up. The costumes and the set dressings are very deliberate, and it shows an extreme version of everything. So even the football players are literally wearing football uniforms at every single moment. When Josh, I think his name was Josh, when he comes out from like sleeping with one of the characters' moms, he's wearing a jock strap.
Yeah.
Like he never takes off his uniform. And none
of the other players do either. All the football
of the football players are constantly in uniform.
And you think maybe they're just wearing their jersey? No, they're wearing the pads, the shoulder
everything.
pads. Like just the only thing they're not wearing is their
They're
helmet.
even wearing the cleats. Because I remember when he was walking away and I heard the little click, 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 click of the cleats. Like, because cleats have a very specific sound when they're walking. Because I remember I was in baseball, and whenever I would leave the house, I would hear the cleats like click, 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 click. And so that sound when he was walking away, I was like, he is wearing cleats.
Yeah.
Which was a really great, like, push towards like, this is full extreme. Like, we know we're crazy. This is crazy. This is insane. Like, this is on purpose.
Yeah. In this movie, also, I think a lot of movies that try this type of thing will sort of give up on it by the end of the movie. This movie never lets up on the absurdity throughout the entire time. It never drops it. It never apologizes for it. It takes it to the end, literally till they're like, I think we killed people.
Yes.
And the crowd is cheering for them. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
And it makes you think, this can't be taking place in the real world.
Yeah. There's even one point where they're in the cafeteria and the lunch ladies are like serving everyone lunches. And so like in the movie, the football players are like these, they're like the gods of the high school.
Right.
And they're in the lunch line, they're being served. Everyone else is being served this like slop of like, I don't know, some kind of noodle dish. But the boys in their football team are getting served steaks and like fresh vegetables and like fresh fruit. But the main boy is the quarterback. He's allergic to pineapple, which is another absurd kind of thing. Like to be so allergic to pineapple that you can't even like be near it.
Oh, right. Yeah. In the movie, the football team like basically owns the school essentially, and the entire school is committed to them beating this one other high school team.
Yeah, there's a huge rivalry for like 40 plus years. And they're like, this is the year that we're going to beat them finally.
Yeah.
And so, and they were like, Josh is the key to it all.
Yeah. So, I mean, the movie gets started in a pretty great way. You have anything else you want to talk about?
Well,
because this is a good stepping off point, I think.
Yeah, we can go into it.
No, you have something else. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, it was part of the cafeteria. If you look around the set dressings, there are literal signs everywhere that are like painted as if it was like high schoolers painted these like
there's propaganda.
Kill the what is the other team or
there's,
whatever.
Like if you're paying attention to the set dressing, it like almost every scene there's some sort of like propaganda about how good the football team is or about how they have to beat this other team.
Yes.
It like that's what I say about like this. It's so committed to its absurdity and it's very meticulous.
It never lets up.
Everything in the frame of the camera is important in this movie.
Yeah.
And I really like well, let me talk about the filmmakers real quick. I couldn't find much information about the filmmakers because they were new. They this might be their first big deal movie. The director is Emma Seligman. And then she wrote it alongside another woman named Rachel Sinnott. We're going to butcher a lot of names. But she's in it, too. I think she's
one of the lead characters.
Yeah. Whose name is PJ. PJ and Josie are, I almost said Jose, are our main characters. Josie is played by Ayo Edebiri. Said I'm going to butcher a lot of names. I'm sorry.
Edebiri?
Yeah, I think this movie really blew her up. She hosted SNL a few weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, she's also been on a couple other things recently. So she's been on The Bear.
Yeah, she was on The Bear, too.
And then there was another thing she was on recently.
She's been in a lot of stuff, but I think this movie
is definitely what put her on SNL.
Yeah, really elevated her career a lot. Okay, so the movie starts, and it's Josie and PJ. They're in Josie's room. Did I say Jose again?
I don't know.
Oh, whatever. And they're both talking. And this is funny to me, too. A lot of, I guess, movie tropes get turned on their head here. So when these two girls are talking, it feels like Superbad.
Yes, purposefully.
It's on purpose, but it flips it on these tropes on their head about like all the high school boy movies are always about like guys trying to get laid for the first time. And this is about two girls
trying to get laid for the first time.
Yeah, two like outcast girls trying to get laid, and I loved it.
Yeah. So PJ is talking to Josie about, she's like, I think this is going to be our year. We have been developing, and I think I'm fully developed now, finally. And we're going to get laid, and I'm going to talk to Brittany, and you're going to talk to, I can't remember the other girl's name. I want to say it's Alice, but that might be the actress's name.
Isabel.
Oh yeah, it's Isabel.
Isabel and Brittany are their love interests.
So she's like, I'm gonna talk to Brittany. You're gonna talk to Isabel, and Josie's like, I'm actually gonna play the long game with her, and it like she goes into this long spiel, which kind of is
She says like we're gonna meet up again at the 20-year reunion
after she's been married to Josh for years, and he's just she's disheveled because he's such a horrible husband to her, and she's been cast aside.
And so she's having some sort of like
midlife crisis.
Yeah, midlife crisis, and then Josie is going to be like the Captain Save a Ho, which is really funny. And then I forget what her friend says to her.
Oh, she said that's really that was the saddest story I've ever heard, or something like that.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it is, but it was really funny to see. It comes out like it's a comedy. It's a really funny movie, and it comes out like just taking these stupid tropes and flipping them upside down on their heads. And
yeah, this movie is really funny. I didn't think it was going to be such a like bold comedy, but it really is. Like this movie is meant to be funny. Not just like situationally. It's like we said already, all the characters are absurd.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, this movie is really funny.
So they're going to meet they're going to this back to school kind of fair. And so it's like the day before the first day to school. So it's like a Sunday, I guess, which is another weird thing. So they're going to this little fair and they see Brittany and Isabel and,
well, they're walking in and they're talking about how, they're gay, but that's not the reason that people don't like them.
Oh yeah, because they're like, "Why? Well, we're outcasts. Like no one's gonna like us." And she goes, "Well, yeah, because we're gay and untalented."
Yeah, but that's another kind of trope about. I like that they didn't make it about the fact that they were LGBT necessarily, and they're like, "Well, it's not just that we're gay." And then somebody says to like
a gay
guy is like, "Hey, you were great in that play." And and he's like, "Oh, thank you." And it's like, "Oh yeah, they like the gay people as long as they
have talent."
Yeah, which is true. It's something that I think about whenever I've watched Queer Eye.
Yes.
Is because it's like, oh, people love gay people if they can do something for you, if they can like give you a better wardrobe and do your hair. But it's like, if they just like
are out in the wild.
Yeah, if they're just working at a data entry job, do you still care? Anyway. So then they run into their crushes and have a very awkward moment with them.
Yeah. It's really, you can see that there's like this, they're trying to flirt. Especially PJ's trying to flirt with Brittany, but she's not getting anywhere. She's even trying to like, say like, "Oh, well, let's get you some food." And she's like, "Actually, I'm going to go on this ride so I can throw up." So like, this is the thing about Brittany is like, she's always vomiting and because she's bulimic.
Yeah, she has an eating disorder is what they set up. Which they kind of abandon later, but whatever.
Yeah, which is fine. I'd rather her not. But she says like, "Oh, well, we could go get a hot dog." And she goes, "Okay." Like she finally like says, "Okay, we can get a hot dog." And she goes, "And with a bun." And she goes, "No bun." Because the carbs would be horrible. And then there's one point where Josie starts talking to her crush for, I don't know what causes that to happen. But then she starts calling her super skinny and everything. And it's like super awkward. And
yeah, because she's trying to like take a cue from PJ.
Yeah.
And be like, "Oh, but you're so skinny." And then we find out that her crush, Isabel, is also dating the quarterback.
Yeah. And he's a jerk.
Yeah, he's a jerk and he cheats on her.
Mm-hmm. And the whole when they first introduce him, they come out with this like announcer being like, "Are you guys horny for this? Like, get your rocks off to the quarterback job." And like the girls are like, "We want to fuck you, like I'm so wet," and like yelling at him, like flashing their tits. So it's like this extreme version of high school.
Yeah, and this is like the first that you're really realizing, like, oh my God, this place is sheer insanity. This whole town, all these kids, everybody.
And this is when I realized that this movie is not for high schoolers. This movie is for people that have graduated already.
Yeah.
This movie is for me because I think about my high school and I'm like, yeah, this is the extreme version of all of the people that I went to school with. This was my town.
Right.
Because they were so obsessed with football and obsessed with everyone that played it. And so all of this, the whole rivalry thing, like we had a rivalry with a neighboring town, and it was this big deal. I mean, granted, no one got murdered ever, but
Yeah. Well, the feeling in my school, it was just like hopelessness.
sad.
No, my school wasn't like this. The dropout rate was through the roof.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, just please, will you just graduate high school,
Yeah.
please?
No, my school, it was just all about sports.
I was when we were watching this, I was thinking a lot. I was like, I wonder how much of this is like hitting home for Aaron right now.
This was really entertaining for me because it was so much commentary on my high school experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like granted, I'm not a lesbian, but
No, because this is not about
them being a lesbian.
It's not an LGBTQ movie. It's for any marginalized group.
Yeah.
It's being like, let's band together and let's make something and let's be somebody.
Yeah.
You know? It doesn't have anything to do, well, it does have something to do with it, but I didn't feel like this was a movie for LGBT.
Yeah.
You know?
But I was like, I felt like them. Like I was this, not castaway, but because I mean, I had a lot of friends, but I mean, I wasn't like this super popular person. And it was just like, it was funny to see like, oh, this would be this person at my high school.
Right.
This would be this person at my high school. Because I could imagine them.
Yeah. Okay. So they leave the fair and they're all upset because everything blew up in their face and they're not leaving with their crushes. But as they're walking out to their car, they hear Isabel and her boyfriend walking up, and she's like, why were you hitting on that woman?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm leaving. And he's like,
it's Mrs. This. And so, it's not even just like a teenager. It's an actual adult. So he's like, it doesn't even count because she's not a high schooler.
Yeah, that's right. He says it doesn't count because she is not a high schooler. And then they're like, they're in the car together, and she's like, offer her a ride.
Offer her a ride.
The escape ride. Give her the escape ride.
And Josie's like, no, I don't know. I can't do that. And then at the very last second, she goes, do you need a safety ride? And then not Isabel. Yeah, Isabel gets in the car with them, and he goes and stands in front of the car. And this, I mean, the whole thing that's happening here is just an extreme version of him being abusive to her, and how he's so manipulative and such an abusive guy.
Yeah, he is a serial cheater. That is what they set up. Like, he doesn't hit her or anything like that. But
Yes.
More emotionally abusive.
Yeah, and definitely manipulative.
Mm-hmm. But what is really interesting to me about this quarterback character, which is another little trope they sort of flipped on their head, is he is a total snowflake.
Yes, he is so weak.
Yeah.
Like whenever he gets hit in the knee and it's like a touch by the car, and then he falls back like he got hit in the balls or something.
Yeah, but also like when he's trying to get himself, like after he got caught cheating, when he tries to get out of it, he's not like, oh, that's stupid, babe. He's like, no, I didn't do it. Like, he's all whiny and cry about it. Like, he's a total snowflake.
Yeah, he's
because he's been held up on this little pedestal.
Yeah.
So he's not, like, he's been protected by everybody.
Yeah.
I think that's so funny. Yeah, so he's standing in front of the car and he won't let them leave. And they're like, just drive away. So they pull forward and tap his knee, and he falls on the ground screaming.
Yeah, and all of the football players, like some kind of like spidey senses, like they turn their head and they're like, no, and they start running towards him.
Spidey sense is the perfect way to put it.
I know. She, Isabel gets out of the car and like walks back to the fair, and they back up, and it's like, why didn't you just back up originally? Because you could have just backed up, and he would not be like, you wouldn't have hit him.
Yeah.
But so they back up and then they leave. And the moment was that I loved was when the football players are surrounding him on the ground and they're looking up to the sky and like, why, God, why?
Yeah, so you get a real feel for like how this town and just how crazy they are. I'm going to just keep mentioning it through this whole podcast, just how, because I kept thinking it the whole movie. I'm like, everybody is so crazy.
Yeah.
Is that how you felt when you lived in Kirbyville all the time?
Yes.
It's just like everybody is out of their fucking
Everyone
mind.
is crazy there. Everyone is crazy there.
Oh, man, I hope they don't listen to this episode.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
If they do, they'll understand.
All right, so we cut to the next day, and they are walking down the hallway in school and kind of commiserating on what went wrong. PJ is sort of like, thinks her talking to her about like throwing up is cute. She's like, she looked cute when she was talking about throwing up.
Yeah. And I got her to say that she would eat a hot dog with me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then they get to their locker, and it has the F word. Not fuck, the other one for gay people.
The gay F word.
Yeah, and then it says 1 and 2. And she's like, wait, I'm 2 now?
Yeah.
You're number 2. You're the sidekick, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah. And the janitor, sorry.
That they're like, it doesn't even register with them. Like, this is a literal hate crime. They're like, wait a minute, why am I number 2?
Why am I the second one?
I thought that was so funny.
Well, it shows her kind of narcissism a little bit.
Yeah, it shows like what her priorities are.
Yeah, her priorities.
But it's also just as a joke. It's really funny to like not care that someone committed a hate crime on your locker.
Yeah. And then the janitor comes up and he starts painting over it, and they're just kind of like, "Yep, it's happened again. Thanks, dude." And so he starts painting over it. And then they go to their class, and this teacher was really funny to me.
Oh yeah, who is that guy? I don't know.
I'm not sure I don't know his name.
I'm figuring he's like some sort of comedian or something, but he was really funny.
Yeah. But he's this teacher, and he's like this, like very relaxed, like, and he's not teaching anything. And if he is teaching something, it's wrong.
Marshawn Lynch. I've never heard of this dude. Oh, it looks like he is a football player.
Yeah, he did a good job. It was fun.
That's pretty amazing.
But they go to this class, and the football players kind of, or everyone's kind of looking at them like, when they're walking through the halls, they're all staring at them. And then they get to this class, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we heard about what you did." Also, at the fair, we also meet Hazel, who is kind of like,
she's another one of their friends who's
also
but
gay. They're kind of like, they kind of put themselves in their friendship, even though they're not.
Kind of like a lackey.
Yeah, I guess. And so they kind of don't pick up on all of the things that they say. So the summer, I guess they went to like some kind of camp or something.
And then everybody thinks they went to juvie.
Yeah. Well, one of them tells Hazel that they went to juvie, and then.
Oh, she took it seriously.
She took it seriously.
So then they get to school the next day, and
everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, I went to juvie!" And
and it's going around with the rumor about them beating up the quarterback.
And they were like, "What did you do to the football player? Like, that's so crazy. How'd you do it?" So everyone's
this
kind
is
of
like
looking
how
up at them.
What?
Everyone's kind of looking up at them like, "Whoa, y'all are cool now."
And
a little bit.
It's funny because Isabel is like, "You beat up my boyfriend," and they're like, "Wait, you were there?"
I know, yeah.
I thought that was so funny too, because it's like, she a stupid cheerleader, I guess, is what her character is supposed to be. But that's where this movie. This is one of those movies where a lie kicks off the movie, and then throughout the movie, you just keep waiting for the lie to get revealed.
Yes,
right, and they'll remind you throughout the movie by teasing you that
it's going to be revealed.
Yeah, because you'll forget.
And then it's not.
Yeah, you'll forget about the lie.
Yes.
If they don't keep bringing it up. So this is where the lie starts, and they're in class, and they're talking to that one girl, the black Republican girl, and she's like, the government owns my vagina. Do you remember that?
Yes. Annie.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know. Whenever she said that, I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I didn't
get it.
I put a question mark by that because I didn't know.
Um,
But then there's a weird announcement.
yeah, someone got beat up by the rival football team. Like
Or
a girl.
I thought it was a girl who was sexually assaulted.
Oh, I thought she said they beat her face in.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe they may have done that too. I'm not sure.
Maybe I was just assuming that because it was a girl. But then you're like, oh wow, like these Huntington guys must be really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get called into the principal's office
For beating up Josh.
Yeah. So the principal's like, I'm going to.
Which is not something that would happen. If you beat someone up outside of school, you can't really discipline it at school.
You can't?
No. If it doesn't happen on school grounds, there's nothing really you can do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, if it's your star football player, I'm sure you could. It might not be. I'm not saying it's legal, but you could try.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the principal's like, I'm going to expel you guys for doing that, and they're like, no, this was part of a club that we were putting together.
Yeah.
So like, this is where the lie is snowballing.
Yeah.
And
well, this is the second lie.
Yeah, but it all becomes a part of one bigger lie to where they're like, oh, it was a fight club, and yeah. Or a self-defense course.
Yeah. So they say, oh, well, we were learning self-defense so we can defend ourselves from the Huntington players.
Yeah. And this is also more of like everybody's crazy because the principal curses at them.
Yeah.
And tells them that they have to stay on the west side of the box munching west side of the school or something like that.
I don't remember the
line exactly, but he basically calls them lesbians and that they need to stay on one side of the school.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
So after that meeting, they're outside. Both PJ,
they're at the football field in the bleachers.
Both PJ, Josie, and Hazel are in the bleachers, and I love that you could see Joshua with his crutches in the background, and he's like, he like jumps up and he like throws his crutches because he's been faking it this whole time.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, it's also just for like the dumb people who are watching it don't know if he's faking it or not.
Yeah. But they're talking about all of this, and Josie is like, this was a bad idea, and PJ is like, we have to do this. This like legit needs to happen.
Yeah, PJ is all in.
And then this is where it's revealed to Hazel that they actually weren't in juvie, and she was like, you were lying to me? And they're like, yeah, we didn't. We never told you that we went to juvie. You assumed it, and we never corrected you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So then they start recruiting other people to be in the thing.
Well, PJ asks Hazel to recruit some people because she has a cousin who does car commercials or something like that.
I don't remember.
And they were like, well, if she's in the club, then everyone else will want to be in the club too because she's a cheerleader.
Okay, and then they go to the gym on the first day of their club, and there was some line about loving David Fincher that I didn't quite understand. I like David Fincher though.
Who's that?
A director. Like he did that show Mindhunter that we liked.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe lesbians like David Fincher.
Maybe.
And then PJ comes out really hot and is like, she starts slamming a mop stick on the ground and start yelling things.
Oh, that was later.
That was?
Yeah.
I thought it was now.
No, they have their first meeting, and she comes in and she tells Josie like, God, these are all ugly people. Why? Like, there's like four or five people there.
Oh, and one thing we skipped over is like they want to invite their crushes to this because they want to get laid. They think they can use the club to get laid. They don't actually care about self-defense.
Yeah, they're just using it to get laid. Which I don't really understand their logic, but their logic really doesn't make sense anyways. So they start this club, and the only people that are there is this religious black girl Hazel, some kind of crazy braces girl. They were like, she would be cute if she didn't have braces and like wasn't on crack or something.
Oh yeah,
like
she's
that.
the one who's always screaming.
Yes.
Yeah. I liked her character.
And then like there was like a couple other people. I can't remember who they are though.
Yeah.
But PJ comes out and she does start like she has these speeches throughout, which I would say kind of get lost because they're kind of long.
Yeah. Well, this is a real dialogue heavy movie, but luckily, like it's funny. So
yeah. So they're kind of saying like, this is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna punch each other. And then Josie's like, who's gonna punch who? And she was like, you're gonna punch me. And so Josie's like, I'm not gonna do that. And then eventually Josie does punch PJ, and like she punches her real hard in the nose and breaks her nose.
yeah.
And everyone's just like, what the fuck? Okay.
Have you ever seen Fight Club?
No.
Okay. Well, there's this part in Fight Club that this reminded me of, and I wonder if they sort of drew inspiration. When Brad Pitt and Ed Norton meet, they're in like an alleyway behind a bar, and he's like, I want you to hit me as hard as you can. And he's like, what? Like, that's kind of what this part reminded me of. Because she's like, you're going to hit me. And he's like, I don't want to. I was like,
Yeah.
no, do it. Hit, because that was what happened in Fight Club. He's like, I don't want to hit you.
Okay.
But anyway, that's what it reminded me of. So then they're like, oh, we got to get a teacher who's going to sponsor our club. So they go and talk to the only teacher that's in this movie.
Yeah, but they also said like all of the other teachers, we need to put it in a way that he won't want to come. And
Right.
so they go up to him and they're like, oh, well, we just kind of talk about our feelings and talk about periods and skirts, but not short skirts, long denim skirts. And it's feminism. And he's like, oh, cool. Yeah, I can get behind this. And he's like, I can sponsor you guys. And they're like, oh, really? Okay, cool. So he's sponsoring them. And then he comes to the second meeting and they're like, oh, shit, he's here?
Yeah, and he shows up every time too,
Yes.
which I really like. But he's into it, and
Yeah.
he doesn't really seem to care what they do. So it's funny.
Well,
And then-
the first time he shows up, which after he's said he's going to sponsor them, that was when they go to that second meeting, and that's when she has the mop. So everyone's kind of like goofing off with the like they were like on exercise equipment, goofing off, and she comes in and she's like, "This is not playtime. This is like serious business, and you guys are late. Y'all are." Club starts at 3:15 and it's 3:31. How dare you? And like yelling
She's
at
like,
everything.
not 3:13 and not 3:17, 3:15. And then their crushes walk in.
And they're like, oh, well, that's for next week. But they come in and they're like, okay, the first thing that we're going to do today is hand to hand, or like, what was it? Body to body, something like that. She was like, we're going to wrestle.
Yeah, they were
because she
doing wrestling.
knew that her crush
this
was
was
here.
the thing where her and Annie keep pushing each other down.
Yes. But it was because her crush was here and she was like, ooh, I can touch my crush and we can wrestle.
Oh, right.
That was the little thing that she wanted to do. But Annie was like, I'll volunteer. And she was like, oh, shit. So Annie gets up and then Annie pushes her. And the teacher's like, whoa. I think I might need to shut this down. And they're like, no, we don't need to shut this down. And then PJ shoves Annie to the ground. And then it kind of keeps going back and forth. He's like, this has got to end. Like, we're not doing this. And then something happens to make him not want to close it down.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So,
but anyway, then there's a fight montage of just the club happening over days, and like they're beating the shit out of each other. Like people are getting black eyes, bloody lips. But also at the same time, you can see how it's empowering them and they feel good about it. Like those are like badges of honor. And that one girl, Hazel, keeps coming home and her mother is like looking at her like,
why
what
is
the hell
she?
Yeah. And
how is she coming all confident home and everything? Like, I didn't really get why she was so like worried about her, because she was just walking in. Like, it wasn't like she came in and like.
Well, I didn't think she was that worried. She was just didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
It didn't look like worry to me. But anyway, so we have this little montage to show the passage of time and how it's helping in pushing the story forward. And I thought it was a well done montage. And then they're back on the bleachers again, and they're like, okay, things are going pretty well, but we need to bond more. So let's make a safe space.
And let's talk about our feelings.
Yeah, and this is Hazel's idea because PJ and Josie are still kind of just thinking about themselves.
Yeah.
And just trying to use this to hook up. So this is Hazel's idea, and then on the next time they're all sitting in a circle, and she's like, "How many people have been raped here?" And a lot of them raise their hand.
Yeah, most of them raise their hand.
Yeah, I think it was most of them. And then someone was bitching about her stepdad.
Yeah. Well, because one of the
But I think it was implying that she's being assaulted by her own stepfather.
I think so. But she said something about she was like, he always wants to do movie nights. And I think that's what she was kind of implying. But also in the beginning, whenever she first starts the club, they were like, what do you want to get out of this? And she was like, I want to kill my stepdad.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so then you see she wants to kill her stepdad because he's abusing her. So it makes you want to be like, oh, good, kill him. Go ahead.
And I think this part is really well done because it's they're dealing with something pretty dark. Sexual assault, rape is a very dark thing, but they don't get so deep into it the way they write it that it takes you out of the absurdity and the comedy of the movie. Her wanting to kill her stepdad is just you're like, yeah, okay, that's absurd.
Yeah.
Right? So very well written thing because it doesn't get too dark. And then the teacher is like, yeah, I'm going through a divorce right now. And he's like, wow, it feels really good to say that.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, that's enough for today.
But I also, if you noticed, whenever Hazel actually finally gets to talk, they're kind of pushed to the side. Because as soon as Hazel starts talking, Josie starts talking.
Okay.
And so you see Hazel actually wanted to actually talk about their feelings and talk about why they're here.
Yeah, Hazel kind of gets stepped on
throughout the whole movie. Yeah. Which I think Hazel grows the most or not grows the most, but
she grows a lot.
She grows a lot in this movie, but you also, I think she's the character we care about the most.
Yeah, she is definitely the most likable, I would say. But also Josie can bolsters her lie.
Yeah.
And says oh, juvie wasn't fun.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like it, but then she starts pulling from the Hunger Games.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
She said we had to do our tributes and stuff like that, which they always say in Hunger Games, I volunteer as tribute or whatever. So she rolls up the lie even more before class ends. I forgot to mention that. Is there something else you want to mention about that scene?
No.
Okay. All right. And then Josie and Isabel become study buddies, right? And they're eating at a diner.
And this is a moment where you think that, because it was right after they've talked about what Josie supposedly went through in juvie. And so Isabel is like, you're so brave,
right?
And so strong. That's so crazy that you went through all of that in juvie and you're still here and blah, blah, blah. And you think she's going to confess that she didn't actually go to juvie, but she tells her that her boyfriend is seeing Hazel's mom.
Right.
Which we found out in the last scene before they did the group therapy session.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I skipped a little bit, but they decide to be study buddies after that meeting. And then we find out Hazel goes home and finds out that her mom is screwing the quarterback. Right. And then they have a fundraiser.
Yeah. The fundraiser is weird.
Yeah.
They're selling their used panties.
Yeah. And they're also taking pictures with a car.
Well, that's one of the cheerleaders' jobs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but it was, it just adds to the absurdity of this movie. Every thing. They can't just have a regular fundraiser. It has
Yeah.
to be a crazy, absurd fundraiser.
Yeah, so they're selling their panties.
Yeah.
And like these creepy old men are coming. It's real weird.
Yeah, it's real weird, but it fits.
It
It's
works.
like, that's what I said. This movie never shies away from it. It never apologizes for it. It just keeps going further and further into it. And I love it. I love it when a movie just gets crazier and crazier.
Yeah.
And it does.
Yes, this movie does.
The ending blew my fucking mind.
Yeah. So she tells her that her boyfriend's cheating on her with Hazel's mom. And
Also, we skipped over that football player, the one who's really protective of the quarterback, Funk, I think his name is. He's calling around to find out if they were actually in juvie.
yeah, he's curious. He's curious of them. And there's been moments when he like stops them in the hall and he's like, you don't need to stop this club because it's taken away from our football team. Y'all are taking the attention away from us and we have a game. And she even points out and says it's propaganda on the walls, about their football team and everything. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then they finally have the study date. And I keep cutting you off when you try to talk about it. So
That's okay. But she tells her, and she has this weird crying moment where you think she's like happy, but then she starts actually crying and like kind of throws herself, which I mean fits the show.
Right. Yeah.
It's fitting. And then we cut to the cafeteria, right?
Yeah. Yeah, she confronts him.
Yeah. So the next scene, they're all sitting in the cafeteria, and Josh is sitting at his table. He just was at the cafeteria line where he was given pineapples, and the quarterback or one of the other jocks.
It's like, wait a minute, is that pineapple?
And then he points to the sign. It's like quarterback or like no pineapple for whatever because he's allergic, like deathly allergic to it.
So he points to another one of the propaganda signs.
Yeah.
And the quarterback goes like, "Fuck you, Janice."
Yeah,
to the
fuck
lunch
you,
lady.
Janice. And then they take the pineapple and like sling it across the room, and it hits one of these like weird looking guy. He looks kind of gothic a little bit.
Yeah, and he was like, he's working on plans to blow up the school.
Yeah, he says something, blow up school. Like,
Yeah.
he was like, this is the last straw, and then he writes blow up school.
Yeah.
Because he was writing something else. I don't know what he was writing before that. And he was like, this is the last straw. And then we see
Isabel walks up.
walking.
Yeah, she's like, "Are you cheating on me?" Or I know that you're cheating on me. And then he's like, "No, I would never do anything." Like, he's being a little whiny.
I would
bitch.
never do that. The only time is like with your sister once, twice, 4 times. But that's it. Like, never do it again.
Yeah, and then I don't remember who was it, Hazel or PJ, or I don't remember who it was. No, it had to be Hazel because he's like, "Shut up! I fucked your mom." And he's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
He's just,
yeah.
like,
Because
completely
Hazel's
out
right
of
behind her.
himself. Yeah,
And
which I thought was so funny.
yeah.
Again, another really good joke.
Yeah. I fucked your mom. And then she's like, we're done. And she walks away. And she's walking with all of her friends now because she has these new friends. And she goes, it's time for revenge.
Yeah.
And their version of revenge is egging his house with toilet paper.
Yeah, they egg it, and they're really bad at throwing the toilet paper. They can't
Yeah.
get it on anything. And then Hazel had mentioned something about a car bomb.
Yeah. She was like, I can bomb his car. And they were like, we're not going to do terrorism.
Yeah, and then there's a interesting scene where Josie and Isabel are in a van together, and they're talking, and she says like, yelling and cussing, like, "I like that. Like, that's my love. That's a love language.
That's
for
my
me."
love language. I had a question for you.
What?
Joey, if you had to have a weird love language, what do you think it would be?
Love language? A weird love language.
Yeah, like yelling and cussing. That's my love language. What would be a weird one that you would have?
Well, probably a love language that I do have is being insulted.
Yes, that is your love language. Whenever I insult him, he laughs his butt off and then he starts smiling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a joke between us.
Yeah.
We like to roast each other quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And then
I think you're right.
maybe the other one would probably like having somebody beat me up
Oh.
because all that I used to have a mosh pit problem.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it kind of turned me into a masochist.
A little bit?
Yeah, I'm over it now. But
Okay.
for many years, I would like like blunt pain would be like soothing to me.
Okay.
That feels really weird to say out loud, but it is true.
I never knew this.
Yeah, I didn't really tell that many people about it.
And now you've told the whole world.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, like I guess maybe you could compare it to like people cutting themselves.
Yeah.
They say that makes you feel good, but I never like sat around like what do they call that? Self-flagellating or anything like that.
Yeah.
But like mosh pits were very soothing.
Okay. Getting
What
a little
about you?
tussled around a little bit.
Yeah, so we can. I don't have to talk about this. Is there any weird love language that you?
I tried to think of what would be a weird love language for me.
Buying you hot Cheetos and Diet Coke.
Yes.
Pretty big. I did that for you yesterday, and you seemed very happy.
I was so happy. Whenever I walked into the kitchen and I saw the hot Cheetos, my heart fluttered. And then I opened the fridge and I squealed inside. I said, he bought me Diet Coke. Because we ran out. Yeah. The surprises.
Oh, you love surprises.
I
That's
fucking
right.
love surprises. So yeah, surprises are my love language. Surprise me with anything.
But I don't think that's weird though.
I like being scared. I think that would be like, I don't know. I don't know what my weird love language would be.
All right. Well, think about it.
I'll think about it and I'll have something by the end.
Yeah. All right. And then we cut to Hazel putting the car bomb on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, they're really going to blow up the quarterback. But then she messes up and she has to run away because it's going to blow up. And they blow up an old Camaro, which I like.
Yeah, I think it is surprises and like scaring surprises too. I think they're funny. So if you scare me, like I'm like, I giggle.
Oh.
So you hate being scared, like startled.
Yeah, I don't like
I
being
get startled easily.
Yeah, I do too, but I think it's tied to being in Iraq.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I don't just, if you're wondering, I do not have PTSD.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that to you. You know I don't have PTSD,
Yeah.
but anybody listening to this, but something happened to me that makes me, and I don't know why, or I can't pinpoint what happened, but I'm very easily scared now, and I didn't used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened after I came back from Iraq.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, but if you like,
Can't explain
if
it.
you like hide to startle me, I like it. That's a weird love language of mine. Because like Morales will do that to me, and it always makes me giggle.
Okay.
I don't know. I like it. I like being surprised.
You really love being surprised.
I do. It's
Wow.
weird, but I like it. I like
Okay.
being scared. Like jump scared. Like,
So if I surprise you with divorce papers, what?
now that's different.
Surprise!
No.
I would do that. I love being married to you.
Good. You better.
Guys, help me. She forces me to say I love being married to her. Okay, so where the hell were we?
I've got a gun to his head. I don't.
Okay, so they run away, and the next day at school, the funk football player approaches them and is like, "I know what you guys did, and this is going to ruin your club."
Yeah. So they're kind of going out for them, and because the car bomb, Hazel did a car bomb on his car when they were there,
Yeah,
and it blew up. And so he was like, "You're lucky he needed a new car." So they go to the gym and they're like, hey guys, well, this might be the end of the club. But PJ is like, no, this is not the end. We have to keep going. And all of the other club members are like, it's been really good and I've learned so much and everything. And Josie is like, yeah, I agree. Like, and they're making connections, but PJ is like, no, this is not the end. And then Hazel says something, and I don't remember exactly what Hazel says, but it's something to the end of like, this has been a really great run, guys. Like, we did really good stuff here. And not Josie.
But then Hazel almost outs them and calls
because
one of them a liar.
PJ is like, well, your mom's. She starts yelling at Hazel.
Oh yeah, she's like, if your mom was never fucking the quarterback, then this wouldn't be a problem. Essentially.
Yeah, and so she gets upset and she stands up and she's about to. You think she's about to reveal the lie to everyone.
Yeah, but then she just walks off.
She walks away, and then you see Funk see her and follow her. And you're like, oh shit, there's something's gonna happen.
Right. Yeah. And then it goes to,
and you can tell that Josie's also upset with PJ, and this is kind of tearing at their friendship.
Yeah. I mean, not quite. I was going to say this is the beginning of the third act, but not quite yet. Cause things don't go horribly wrong just yet. But then it cuts to them, and it's Josie and, Isabel in her room. And they're hanging out, and things are getting heavy. But that one part where Isabel is like, PJ is so like this.
And like very kind of robotic.
And then does like, she just does her motions hands, with her hands. She doesn't say anything.
She gestures with her hands very like almost robotically, but not like a robot. Just kind of flopping them around. And then she goes, but you're like this. And she does the same kind of motions, but smoother.
Yeah, it was like a nondescript thing and then another nondescript thing. And it was like, yeah, this girl is just a dumb cheerleader.
Yeah. But also, I do stuff like that. Like, I'll do it instead of doing with gestures. I'll do like sounds. You know,
yeah, but
I think everyone kind of does something like that.
Yeah, people do things like that. That's what's funny about it. What's funny about hers is that it's so non-specific.
Yes.
It doesn't really tell you anything about those people. Yeah, but that's funny.
Yeah, it was I loved that part. It was a fun part.
Mm-hmm. But then they make out on the bed, and you're like,
we
well,
think
good
that
for
they
them.
do more.
Yeah, they might do more. We don't really know. Or does she tell her when she goes?
Well, when they go to because the next scene is the pep rally, and she she goes and sits next to PJ. Oh, actually, no. The next scene is Brittany.
I was going to go back, but what does she say to PJ on the bleachers?
Well, hold on.
I know. I'm going to go back.
She tells PJ that, like, she was like, Isabel and I, and then she kind of like looks down, like, oh, we did it. Like, it was like, we did it. Like, I don't know. It doesn't, they never say like we had sex.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But it hints at like something happened more than just.
It sort of implies that they did a little bit more than making out, at least. And then we also see PJ and Brittany, and they're studying, and PJ goes in for a kiss on her, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm straight. Yeah, and we, the audience, knew that, but PJ didn't. She was kind of fooling herself into believing that she was gay. And then she's like, I'm sorry, is there something I did? And, you know, at least she's nice about it.
Yeah.
You know. But she's like, no, it's nothing you did. And that's when it goes to the pep rally. Yeah.
So the pep rally starts happening after Josie tells PJ about what they did with their eyes. And
then the pep rally starts, and it's the most absurd thing to happen so far in the movie.
They're like, we're going to start out with the cheerleaders, and the cheerleaders just turn around and then pour water on one of them.
Yeah, because they're not even wearing their cheerleading tops. They're just wearing white shirts. And also, I thought this was so funny that, like, only that one teacher was there. The kids are running the pep rally.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah. It's very weird.
Yeah.
So the cheerleaders do that, and then Funk is like, okay, and next we have Hazel coming out, and y'all have heard about this fight club on campus. Well, Hazel's here to show you guys what they've been learning, and they're gonna fight our star wrestler,
Right. It
or
was
boxer.
a boxer. Yeah, and she's like, wait a minute, I thought you said I was going to fight
Josie
Josie.
or PJ.
I thought it was one of the football players. I thought they said Josh.
No.
No, I don't know. But anyway, they lied to her, and they got a ringer who's like a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy looks intimidating.
Yes. And he's like screaming and like, "Rah!" And he's in a
Yeah.
cage.
Yeah, he's
Also, I
being
think
in
he
a
was
cage is crazy.
Yeah, I think he was in the cage in the class earlier too, because in that first scene with the class, there's this huge cage with someone in it.
Yeah, and they're wearing football clothes.
I don't know what they're
think.
wearing.
Yeah, well, he's probably on the football team too. But you're right. I forgot about that. That's
So
funny.
I'm guessing this guy is always in a cage.
He
So they
can't
just
be
keep this
controlled.
guy in a cage
Oh my
all the time.
This movie is insane.
So they let him out, and then he kind of goes at her.
But,
But
she
she-
puts up a good fight.
Yeah, she does. She like ducks and like it's a good fight.
Yeah, she gets her blows in, but of course, like he's a huge man.
Yeah.
And so she eventually gets her ass kicked.
And also, the other thing is like they keep saying it's a self-defense class. It's not a fight club. It's a self-defense class, which self-defense is about getting them off of you so that you can get away.
Right.
Which, if you put up any kind of fight, generally they'll go away. Like they're not gonna. If you put up any kind of fight, they're.
An FBI profiler might argue with you on that.
I mean, if someone comes up to you and is like, if they grab at you and you put up a fight, you're harder to deal with.
Yeah, you are harder to deal with. For sure.
So, versus someone that just like, that doesn't know self-defense.
Right.
So whatever.
Yeah.
But this person, the wrestler, the boxer was just coming straight for her constantly.
Right. But it's a fight.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not like she's just being attacked on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is pretty much the beginning of the third act because they out the whole Fight Club thing and say like PJ and Josie did it to hook up with girls.
Mm-hmm.
And it drives a wedge between all the friends in the club and then Josie and PJ.
Well, it drives a wedge between Josie and PJ and the rest of the people against Josie and PJ because they're all
Right.
staying friends together.
Yeah, they all stay friends, but you say like, oh, pretty much this whole group is blown up.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point in a movie like this, that's when you always know this is the third act of the movie that's starting. Right?
And it happens exactly an hour in.
Yeah, and it should. That's when in a 90-minute movie, that's when it should. And this movie is 91 minutes. So I looked it up.
Okay.
And then they go and talk to their teacher, and even their teacher's like, I can't believe I did this for you guys. Like, just when I thought I could trust women again, it turns out I can't. Like, feminism's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
I love that thing he talks about, like, Amelia Earhart.
Yeah.
He's like, there's tons of guys who were driving planes around at that
And never
time.
crashed.
And they never crashed. But why are we putting Amelia Earhart on?
Yeah. Just because she's a woman. And there's also something that we didn't talk about earlier. When he first joins the club, he starts like in his class, he starts talking about feminism and
Yes.
starts putting up like, who started feminism?
Yeah, and then the girls in the club will like reference his lessons every once in a while too. Like Annie says, I think like this feels like the beginning of the second wave, and I think she was referencing like the switch from first wave feminism to second wave feminism, which I don't really know that much about.
Okay. I don't either.
Yeah, some feminist you are, Aaron.
I never saw it was.
I took sociology of gender in college, so
I didn't have to take any kind of gender class.
I didn't have to either. My minor was sociology. You didn't have a minor.
I didn't. I had a
You missed-
fine arts major.
Your bachelor of fine arts, right? Mine was a
BA.
BA, yeah. BA of fine arts. Anyway.
Anywho.
So then they fight. PJ and Josie fight, and they get mad at each other. But I forget what they say. Do you remember anything that they fought about? I mean, there's some pretty funny jokes in there.
Yeah, but they're not friends anymore. And this is a moment where Josie is like walking down this like road, and I was like, this looks like a dirt road in my hometown.
Yeah.
And she's going to go talk to her lesbian Yoda.
Yeah.
Which she kind of references earlier. Like she talks about him, about this lesbian Yoda that she first met.
Yeah. This is like the one thing in the movie I was like, they really shoehorned this in.
Yeah. So she kind of talks to them and is like, this is what's going on. And then I'm going to go to the game tonight. And they're like, you're going to go to the game. There's, this is going to be a slaughterhouse. Every year they kill one of the football players. And like, this isn't just some rivalry. It's like a bigger deal, which is like, hasn't the principal and the like anyone that's been there known about this rivalry this whole time? Like they all should have known.
They're into it. That's why they want them to win, right? Is because they have this really serious past with this school.
Yeah, but they're killing people.
Yeah, I know, but this town is absurd. They're out of their minds. But before this, we see there's a short montage where they show everybody regressing. So Isabel gets back with the jock boyfriend, and the other people in the group regress to being like the outcasts of school and stuff like that. And then this is when they're starting to set up the stakes for the third act, and they literally say like, the Huntington team has like drowned people. They quarter horsed. Like that was funny.
Yeah.
She's like, that's when they rip their limbs off. And she's like, I know what that means. That was a funny joke. But she's like, I'm gonna go inside and like double bolt my door.
Yeah.
And then so Josie's like, oh shit, we got to do something about this.
So they go to the football game, and PJ's there in their car, and they're like trying to talk themselves into getting out of the car to go to the game. And Josie comes up and is like, we have to go in and we have to save them. And they're like, why should we save them? Like this is all because of the football players. They should die.
Right.
And they said, well, this is our one chance to do something that we should have.
Right. To set everything straight.
Yeah. And so they go inside and they find Hazel, who's been beat up, and all of the other people. Well, 3 of the Fight Club members are on the cheerleading team, but the rest of them are in the bleachers with Hazel. And
yeah, they're at the game already. That's about to start, which I love how quick it is. Like they don't waste any time. They're like, yeah, the game is literally about to start. And then they go to Annie and they're like, Annie, you may be a black Republican, but you're the smartest one of all of us.
Yeah.
And like, saying like, and it shows them being different and saying like, we actually need you guys. We're not using you anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And then Hazel is like, I guess you're going to need a bomb.
yeah, I guess you're going to need that bomb after all.
Yeah.
So they were like, we need a distraction, because if you look on the other side, they're like, no one on the other team is here. That's weird. Why are they not here?
Yeah. Why is it no one showed up to watch them play? And I feel like this was a workaround for the production, because they didn't want to pay that many background actors.
Yeah.
So they're like, we'll just say that nobody showed up.
Yeah. So they go to the other, they go on the field and they're trying to talk to the cheerleaders, and they're like, we have to, like, they're going to kill someone, or they're trying to tell them that, but they're not listening. And then the football boys kind of run in and they're kind of blocking their path. And then Josie walks around the side and they see something on the floor, on the ground.
Yeah, across the track.
And also Hazel goes up to a tree and is trying to she's like, is it the yellow wire? And so they're trying to make a bomb tied to a tree.
Yeah, she's really bad at making bombs. Like she sets this bomb up. She thinks it's going to blow. So she runs away and then it doesn't blow up.
Yeah, and they're pushing a button and it's not blowing up.
Yeah.
And so that's when...
Yeah. Josie realizes that the trail that she found on the ground was pineapple juice.
Mm-hmm.
And remember that they set up that the quarterback is allergic to pineapples.
Yes.
So they're like, what's going to happen? And that's when the team comes out, and their name is the Golden Ferrets. That's the Huntington boys of the Golden Ferrets.
Yeah.
And
but the people that are in the fight club are like, oh, we have to get the cheerleaders to make out so that it's a distraction.
Right.
And they keep trying to tell them to make out, but they're not understanding them. So Hazel and JP go up to the front and they start making out, which kind of is a distraction for a little bit.
Yeah,
while
the whole
she's looking
crowd
at,
starts to look at them.
Yeah, and then one of the
creepy old men.
One of the creepy old men, he kind of says some line about.
He says, like, can we stop all this gay stuff and watch a bunch of men smash into each other and tackle each other?
Yeah, something
Just
like that.
Making a joke about how homoerotic football is, which I really liked.
So Josie's figured out that they're going to poison the quarterback with pineapple juice. And they're like, how are they going to do it? We don't know where it's coming from. And
they see, I think Annie sees a little sprinkler
pop
shoot up out of the ground.
And they're like, oh, it's in the sprinklers. And so they run on the field, and they have, like, the Golden Ferrets have Josh on the ground, like holding him down so that whenever the sprinklers do come on, he's there in the midst of it. He can't get away.
Yeah. Because it'll only hurt him, they'll just be sticky.
Yeah.
And so this is like, like once the girls run on the field, you're like, there's going to be a fight. Like there's going to be a big brawl. And like, you want it so bad. I've been waiting the whole movie for this.
Yeah. So they get over there, and then they start beating up these huge football players.
Yeah. And it's glorious. Like there's a sword that falls, like some guy falls on a sword.
Yeah. I don't know who had a sword.
It was the one with the braces. One was screaming.
I know, but like someone had a sword.
Oh, one of the mascots had it.
Oh, yeah. The Viking mascot like ran by and dropped their sword. And so they pick up their sword and they're trying to swing it, but it's too heavy. And then they fall back, and then someone trips and he falls on it.
Yeah. And so they completely waste these football players. And Josie picks up, fireman carries the quarterback off the field. Yeah. And then she throws him on the ground, and he tries to kiss her, and she's like, no.
This is not what this is.
And then they run back on the field, and she kicks some dude in the face.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we did it. We beat them or whatever.
And they're like, no, we kind of killed the ball.
Yeah, we kind of killed some of these people.
Yeah.
And then the football player that's been trying to screw with them the whole movie stands up. It's like, they did it.
And then he starts doing the
slow clap, which was like the icing on the cake for me. I love that part.
And then the sprinklers turn on. Oh, because the reason he starts slow clapping is the sprinklers turn on, and he's like, it's pineapple juice.
Right,
they were trying to kill him. And that's when he starts doing the slow clap, like, they did it. They saved him.
Yeah. And then I think Isabel goes and talks to Josie, and she's like, if you wanted to hook up with me, why don't you just talk to me? Which was like a nice callback to the beginning when she's like, why don't you just go grow some balls and just talk to that girl that you like, which I thought was funny. And then the tree explodes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the end of the movie.
Well, the tree explodes because the kid that was like going to blow up the school, he was like, that was my plan.
Oh, right. Yeah. So what, did Hazel get the bomb from him or something?
No, I think that bomb blew up. It was his bomb.
Oh, she stole the bomb then.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe that's where she was getting all the bombs from.
Maybe.
But anyway, and then the credits roll. I like that they ended there. We didn't get any epilogue. I don't give a shit.
Well, Josie and Isabel kiss at the end. I think that's it.
But I mean, like, there was no next day at school. Everybody loves them now. It's like, we don't need to see that. We know.
Everyone loves them now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we as moviegoers, we know what the next scene is. We don't need to see it. They roll credits. There's some bloopers. You can definitely tell there was a lot of improv and ad lib in this movie.
Yeah, and it seemed like a lot of fun to make.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a very fun set to work on.
So yeah.
Yeah. So that's the movie. Aaron, I have to get your rating on a scale of 1 to 9 cat lives, how many cat lives did this movie slay?
I would say this movie slays 8.5 cat lives.
You didn't think about it before this?
No. I usually forget about this.
Okay.
8.5 cat lives.
8.5.
I think the movie is really funny. There's a lot of really good jokes in it. The pacing is nice and quick. It's not super duper long. It's nice 90-minute, short and sweet. It's to the point. It's really fun. It's really goofy. The acting in it was fun. Nothing was. It all fit really well together. It all was one cohesive piece. I would say like the only reason I gave it like a 0.5 less is because it's an acquired taste, I would say, for some people. So if you aren't into absurdist kind of crazy things, like if you want things more in reality.
We're rating this on your scale.
On my scale, then 9.
Okay. Yeah, all of our ratings are our personal opinions.
Yeah, my personal opinion, 9. I thought this movie was so much fun to watch. I'd watch it again.
Yes. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm. 9.
You're gonna ask me how many.
Joey, how many cat lives would you give this movie? 1 to 9.
Well, on a scale of
Or
1 to 9
9.
cat
0 to
lives,
9.
I would say this movie slays all 9 cats. It's beautiful to me as a person who loves bad movies.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons I love bad movies so much is because they take twists and turns that you're not expecting,
Mm-hmm.
and they just do crazy things because they think they should.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie, it's a really tight script. It's well written, but the absurdity is super intentional.
Yes.
And it gets crazier and crazier. It keeps outdoing itself in the most beautiful way.
Mm-hmm.
In the way like a bad movie that's crazy can't do.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of took my two favorite things, like a really well manicured script and absurdity, and stuck them together in this beautiful way. And on top of that, it's got a lot of great acting.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny as fuck. It looks good. Like the sets and everything are made. I love the sets, and that's not something I normally would pay attention to.
Yeah.
But it's
Costumes were great.
yeah. If you're someone who has ever felt marginalized in any way, even if you're a white straight male like me, you can watch this movie and enjoy it on that level.
Yeah.
And for that's why I'm giving it a perfect 9 score.
Yeah.
9 cat lives. And I will be watching this movie again.
Yeah. I also loved the commentary that it had on how absurd movies are, and how those stereotypical, like that high school experience is absurd. And I loved that comment about it all.
Yeah, that is a really great commentary.
Through this movie.
Yeah, about just how absurd like high school is, and especially in a small town where the whole town cares about football, which I didn't, that wasn't my high school experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also I like how they flip a lot of tropes on their heads. I like seeing women trying to lose their virginity.
Yeah.
In the way a boy would in a movie. I like the teacher who is not a compass. Like in those movies, there's always a teacher who's like a compass for morality, and this teacher isn't. Like that's another one that's so crazy. Like this teacher's like, yeah, just whatever.
Yeah.
I love the pussy jock football player, and the way they're like, they just love on each other or whatever. There's no weird locker room scene where they're whipping each other with towels or something. Like this movie is insane in the best way possible. And I loved it. I will be watching this a lot. And I know there's so many jokes I missed.
Yes. I can't wait to see it again to see all the things I missed.
I want to watch it forward and backwards. It's really good. And I'm so glad we watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So is there anything else you want to add about it?
Nope. Well, I think that's it.
Okay. Well, we have one more thing before we get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
Can I say fuck? Is that okay?
I think so.
Fuck.
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 Okay.
All right. So we're going to play high school movie Would You Rather. And I'm
Okay.
going to say some movie synopsises and which one do you would rather live?
Okay.
I'm looking at some of these titles and I'm realizing, yeah, that's a high school movie. Okay. So you are a dorky kid in high school in Southern California.
Okay.
And one day you discover a caveman. And you're like, this caveman is going to win me a bunch of friends.
Mm-hmm.
But the caveman turns out to be cooler than you,
Yeah.
right? Or you are a high school dork again, and you get bit by a radioactive spider. But you can't reveal your identity to anybody because the villains might go after your family. So you have to stay a dork.
Oh. Question. Is the caveman still Brendan Fraser? Because if it's a woman, then Spider-Man. I want to be Spider-Woman. But if it's Brendan Fraser...
Wait, are you saying you just want the caveman scenario because you want to be around Brendan Fraser?
Absolutely.
No, he's an ugly Neanderthal man.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll be Spider-Man. Spider-Woman.
Okay, I'll be Spider-Man. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay, so you're a kid from New Jersey
Joyzy.
and you move all the way to Southern California with your mom,
Oh no.
and you hit on the wrong guy's ex-girlfriend. So now these karate guys are beating the shit out of you. But luckily, there's an old Japanese man who really wants to help you out.
Okay.
So he teaches you how to kick ass, and you beat them in a karate tournament,
Okay.
and you get the girl.
Okay.
Or would you rather be a rich girl who's hot and gets Saturday detention with a bunch of other high school kids? You're Molly Ringwald in The Breakfast Club.
I got it. I would rather be Molly Ringwald.
Really? You'd rather be Molly Ringwald than the
Karate Kid? Yeah.
Okay. Weird world.
I'd rather be a woman than a boy.
Well, I mean, you have a bad relationship with your parents, and everybody just sees you as the hot girl and doesn't think you have thoughts or feelings.
Is that
how you
any
wanna live?
different than right now? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, I mean, yeah. She finds people that understand her.
Good. Okay.
I've never seen The Karate Kid.
All right. Okay. So you are a dorky guy,
Okay.
and you get a bunch of money, and then the hot, cool girl at school ruins her mom's dress.
Mm-hmm.
So you give her the money to get the dress fixed as long as she pretends to be your girlfriend to make you cool.
Oh.
Or you are a rich girl who really knows a lot about fashion, and she takes like an ugly duckling under her wing to prove that she can turn anybody into a fashionista.
Mm-hmm.
But then the ugly duckling becomes more popular than her because she's not a virgin. And then you hook up with your ex-stepbrother at the end of the movie.
Oh.
But it's Paul Rudd, so.
In the first one, I'm a dork and I pay for... Do I end up with the girl?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I guess I'd rather sleep with Paul Rudd.
Even if he's your ex-stepbrother?
Yeah, we're not related by blood.
Okay.
And
right.
I also helped someone become popular.
Cool. Okay. You ready for one more?
One more. Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully I can do this. All right. So you are on the dance squad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really prestigious dance squad. And then at the rival school, there's another dance squad that's really good, but they're black. They're from a black school.
Cheerleaders?
No. Maybe they're cheerleaders.
Bring it on.
Yeah, it's Bring It On.
Cheerleaders.
Yeah. Or you're a really cool guy, right? But you just don't want to go to school one day.
Okay.
So you come up with an elaborate plan to not go to school when you could have just not gone to school.
Uh-huh.
And you don't learn anything during the movie and you're kind of a dick to people.
I'd rather be a cheerleader and learn how to create my own cheers and like support a rival team.
Okay. I don't remember what happens at the end of Bring It On.
That's
I don't
what
think
happens.
I finished watching it. Okay.
The
cool.
rival team wins.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for Would You Rather High School Movie Edition.
Yay.
All right. Hope everybody, all you punch drunk idiots at home enjoyed listening to this episode. We enjoyed doing it. If you want to write into us, it's joeyanderinpod at gmail.com.
Please send us your suggestions.
And don't forget to slay and neuter your cats. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.